Welcome into another edition of the Old North State Sports Show, folks. We got something special today as we are going over the top 50 prospects in the NFL draft in under 10 minutes. This is going to have to be a speed round, so I'm going to have to make sure I push through this and hopefully get through it in under 10 minutes if possible. We've got this broken out using Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 prospects that was published today as I record this, April 2nd. We've got it broken out by position group. And so we're going to go through the list and talk through very high level all the prospects and the potential for that guy to make it to the Panthers. Because there's a good chance Panthers likely could get 2 guys from this list, maybe 3 if they have a trade back scenario with pick number 8. But without further ado, I'm wasting time. Let's get right into it. We'll start with the cornerback position. Travis Hunter leading the charge as the number 2 overall prospect. I don't think there's any question about him and where he sits. You throw in him, Abdul Carter, and Ashton Jeanty. Those 3 guys, probably the best 3 prospects as players within this draft. And that's just not me, man. That's everyone that's analyzing this that is much smarter than me. He does have Jahade Barron, cornerback out of Texas, ranked as the 11th prospect. Versatile slot, outside ball hawk instincts, does lack elite top speed. Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan, is someone that's come up quite often in Panthers conversation. He has him as the 3rd ranked cornerback, 14th overall prospect. So if you think about a trade back scenario, could be in play if there's potential to move him into a nickel cornerback type role. Like you have Mike Jackson, you have J.C. Horn. Those are your 2 starters. You'd really have to be thinking about getting a nickel cornerback type player. Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky, who tested really well. He's kind of moved up the charts. Speed, fluidity, very productive in 23. Had a shoulder injury in 24. Has some difficulty using his hands down the field. Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame is your 40th overall prospect. Smooth, ball skills, strong injury production, pre-injury production. I was like, I don't know that I want a strong injury production. He had a season-ending injury in 24. Trey Amos out of Mississippi, Ole Miss senior, 6'3 and a quarter, really big size, 13 pass breakups. You think about a size that seems to be a theme for the Panthers at the cornerback position. Dan Morgan, Brant Tillis, what they're looking for. Dave Canales, Ejiro Evero. It's a possibility for the Panthers as we get towards that 2nd round pick. Azari Thomas out of Florida State, rounding it out as your 50th overall prospect. Tall, fluid, physical, strong character. Get into one of our favorite position groups, the tackle position. Mason Graham, hands down, if Mason Graham is available, I think you're going to have a very tough decision between him and Jalen Walker. So hopefully one of these guys falls before the Panthers get here. But Mason Graham, number 4 overall prospect, number 1 D tackle prospect. Dude's a monster. He has Derek Hammond out of Oregon as the 2nd-rate defensive tackle, listing him as quick, disruptive, instincts, a gap shooter, lacks elite trait, occasional bull rush needed. Walter Nolan, another out of Ole Miss that we've talked about and has been on a lot of boards. 28th overall prospect. Twitchy, disruptive, violent moves, off the ball, vision awareness, and untapped potential are kind of where he sits. You have another Michigan guy in Kenneth Grant, who's massive, quick, dominant run defender, and pass rush plan is lacking. It was very inconsistent in 24. According to Daniel Jeremiah. Very quick water break. Darius Alexander out of Toledo, small school here. A lot of upside on his size, his length, and his athleticism, and potential for day 1 impact. Again, as we get towards that 2nd round pick, someone that you could think for the Panthers to consider. And maybe outside of wide receiver, the most talked about position for the Panthers, Abdul Carter, leading the charge as the number 1 overall prospect. No question. If for whatever reason he somehow landed, yes, Panthers pick him up. It's not going to happen I know maybe concerns about injury, but still don't see it happening. Also, don't see the need for the Panthers to trade up for him. As much as I love him as a prospect, not worth it. You can see here the elevation of Jalen Walker, 5th overall prospect, according to Daniel Jeremiah, talking about moving up the list. The question originally was, hey, are the Panthers going to take Walker? Now is he even going to be available for the Panthers to take? Mike Green moving up the charts as well. 3rd overall prospect, explosive, productive. Maybe you have concerns with his off-field accusations, things that have gone on. I don't know. Paired right behind him is Michael Williams, who's a name that's also been mocked to the Panthers, but you can see here he has him ranked as the 4th edge prospect. Explosive, or dynamic get-off, long arms, physical, even despite injury. He battled injury. That's what a lot of people have talked about. He did battle an injury this past season. So his tape really doesn't represent who he is. Donovan Ezeruka. Actually have not seen his name come up. But gosh, quick first step, 16 and a half sacks. Dude's a monster. Inconsistent versus the run and blocks, but still, if you're looking for a pass rusher that can make a difference. James Pierce Jr., originally for the Panthers, I had him. Seems like he's sliding down boards. He is explosive first step, pressure rate. It's really good and double-digit sack potential. He is smaller, needs to bulk up a little bit. Shamar Stewart may be the most athletic guy on this as far as his RAS score, if you're into that. Explosive, lack of production, primarily due to the scheme that they played at Texas A&M. When you're taught to set the edge, not rush the quarterback, you're not going to have many sacks, but we have seen other productive players that go through that system before or in a similar system, so you just worry if you try to invest in Shamar Stewart. Landon Jackson out of Arkansas, very big, 6'6", 264, explosive, had a really good Senior Bowl and combine, edging him up. He was, I believe, the bald guy, has alopecia. He was one of the ones that originally hit the practice on me a few years ago. Looked like he was slapping it. Had a really good performance, though, and I do remember folks talking about him. Last prospect, Nick Scourton out of A&M. And I think when you get to the end of this, if we're talking double dipping at edge, probably a good chance some of these guys could be available with that 2nd round pick for the Carolina Panthers. Interior offensive line, I think we could probably breeze through this. Tyler Booker out of Alabama, Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State, and Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State. It feels like the interior, unless we're trying to find a center, which I don't think they will look for that this year. I think the hope will be that Caden Mays can be the long-term solution. That's just my guess. And then maybe Austin Corbett as a backup, but we'll see. But I don't really look at that. True linebacker, Jahad Campbell, 9th overall prospect, should be in play, I think, for the Panthers. I just don't know that he makes the leap above some of the other guys. Explosive, very good player. He really is. I just don't know where he stacks up. So not as elite off ball. And then Carson Schwanger out of UCLA, instinctive range, coverage, ability to play speed, lacks thumps and struggles when engaged. Tackle position, one that I would breeze over, but there is possibility that the Panthers look for a tackle, maybe not 2nd, maybe 3rd. These guys are top 50, so probably wouldn't be there. But there's always an option that there's a trade-up scenario where somebody wants to get their tackle if one of these guys doesn't go off the board, or the Panthers pull a crazy curveball, which I don't think they will, to take a tackle to replace Taylor Moton. If you have Will Campbell leading the charge, ideal size, athleticism, recovery ability. Armin Mambu out of Missouri, your 12th overall prospect, and then Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon, Marcus Mabau out of Purdue. You have your quarterbacks. No need to talk about these guys, only to discuss the potential that one of these guys is still on the board and the team wants to trade up and get him. Cam Ward, probably gone for 1st or 2nd. Shedeur Sanders, possibly, but it sounds like there's trends that he may be later than people think. They have him as the 19th overall prospect, and then Jackson Dart. So Shador Sanders or Jackson Dart seem to be the two quarterbacks that could be still available that a team wants to move up and get. Running backs, we can breeze through as well. At least I don't see the Panthers in the first 2 rounds taking one. Ashton Jeanty, we talked about him, number 3 overall prospect, fantastic. You guys know I'm a big fan of Omarion Hampton out of the University of North Carolina. Absolutely fantastic running back. Yes, I'm biased. Trayvon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State. Both of those guys, really good backs. And I've talked about Caleb Johnson as well, although I don't think the Panthers are going to be as high. Seems like this, if they go take a back, it's going to be much later. Trying to speed through as quickly as we can to close it. Nick Emanwari out of South Carolina, another guy who had a really good combine. Fantastic. Rated as the number 1 safety now. So I don't know if the Panthers can double dip. Malachi Starks is your 2nd overall safety. Panthers are going to need safety help. Lots of decisions. Again, you talk about a trade back scenario. If Walker's gone, if Mason Graham's gone, maybe that's a possibility. And then offensively, your wild cards for the Panthers, if they go offense, Tyler Warren, still a big fan of his, 6th overall prospect out of Penn State. Colston Loveland, a lot of people like him a little bit more, think he's a little more well-rounded out of Michigan. Then Mason Taylor out of LSU, or Elijah Arroyo out of Miami, who's also trending up. Lastly, your group of wide receivers. And there's been so much talk about Ted McMillan. He's falling not just with Daniel Jeremiah, but a lot of boards. More people are higher on Matthew Golden and now Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State, which is wild. Ted McMillan at 3, and then Luther Burden III as your 4th overall wide receiver. Well, folks, a little bit longer than 10 minutes, but we'll call it a day because that was pretty close. So anyways, folks, appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, this is Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good one.